Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Wild blockbuster trade proposal sees Steelers land franchise QB for TJ Watt. In the social media age, it's possible to find a fan in favor of any kind of transaction. But as of April 13th, a majority of Steelers Nation is probably not in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers parting ways with All-Pro edge rusher TJ Watt. Some of fans, though, might change their tune if a Watt trade could result in acquiring a franchise quarterback. Former NFL player Chris Canty proposed the possibility during an ESPN radio appearance on Friday. Canty argued the Steelers could pursue a trade for San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy in a trade involving Watt. Using TJ Watt as a way to be able to pry Brock Purdy from San Francisco, Canty said on ESPN Radio's Unsportsmanlike, via NBC Sports Bay Area. The 49ers gutted at defense, being able to add some help for Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. TJ Watt in that group. Robert Saleh now back there as the defensive coordinator. The 49ers got the 11th overall pick, so they can presumably draft a quarterback if they don't have to give up that pick in the trade. I don't know how the 49ers say no to that. Watt has been the subject of trade rumors over the last few days because of a cryptic social media picture he posted on his Instagram story Wednesday. The photo was of Watt holding up two fingers in a peace sign. TJ Watt on IG Wednesday #Steelers. Some pundits have interpreted the photo as Watt saying goodbye to the Steelers because potential contracts talks between the two sides are not going well. The Steelers wanted Aaron Rodgers to be their short-term solution at quarterback this offseason before finding a more permanent solution. Rodgers may still sign this year. In fact, NFL insiders have indicated that the signs point to that happening. However, it still hasn't happened yet. With the Steelers reportedly having made Rodgers an offer about a month ago, it's worth wondering how much the veteran quarterback really wants to play for Pittsburgh. Trading for Purdy would end the Steelers needing to wait for an answer from Rodgers. It also should finish the team's long-term quarterback search. Since Ben Roethlisberger retired, the Steelers have started 5 quarterbacks in 3 seasons. 4 of those signal callers, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, have posted winning records in the regular season. But the Steelers haven't won the AFC North since 2020 or a playoff game since January 2017. In 3 NFL seasons, Purdy has posted a 23-13 regular season record. During the 2023 season, he led the 49ers to an NFC championship. Last year, Purdy completed 65.9% of his passes for 3,864 yards with 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Purdy has averaged 8.9 yards per attempt in his career and posted 8.5 yards per pass last season. Franchise quarterbacks like Purdy aren't usually available. There's really nothing to suggest Purdy is on the trade market this offseason either other than the quarterback is coming off a disappointing 2024 campaign with a 6-9 record. So, in all likelihood, it would have to take something such as departing with Watt for the 49ers to consider a deal involving Purdy. Mock Draft Monday, Pittsburgh Steelers 2025 Mock Draft, April 14th. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to bolster their roster in hopes of having a better chance to compete in the postseason next year. Given their needs and talent in this draft class, here is another mock draft that projects players the Steelers may be interested in. Say one of the Tennessee Titans or the Cleveland Browns select Miami, Florida QB Cam Ward with one of the top 2 picks in the draft, but the other passes on Shedeur Sanders for a guy like Edge Abdul Carter or wide receiver/cornerback Travis Hunter. In this scenario, there is a very realistic chance that Sanders could slide. The Giants could draft Sanders, but they have already signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston this offseason while teams like New Orleans, Las Vegas, and Indianapolis have arguably bigger needs they need to address. When you start looking at the board as constructed, Sanders falling within Pittsburgh's range of the draft is a realistic possibility. When it comes to Sanders, HC Mike Tomlin and the organization have always been pedigree guys, and Sanders is about as pedigree as you can get. He has proven to be an effective leader at the lower levels at Jackson State as well as at Colorado, demonstrating poise as well as the ability to make crucial plays in crunch time. He has plenty of things that need to be worked on from the neck up, but given the Steelers' dire need at the position and their due diligence by bringing him in for a pre-draft visit, it could be hard to see Pittsburgh passing on Sanders should he indeed fall to number 21 overall in less than 2 weeks. The Steelers need to address their defensive line, and if they fail to do so on day 1 of the draft, they likely will need to target a quality prospect on day 2. Joshua Farmer doesn't have the ideal height Pittsburgh looks for in its defensive lineman, but he weighs over 300 pounds and has impressive 35-inch arms. He plays with a relentless motor, flashing at the Senior Bowl as a stocky Energizer bunny both in run defense as well as a pass rusher. Farmer has been brought in for a pre-draft visit, showing that the Steelers' interest is there in the middle-round prospect who can play in a 3-4 or 4-3 front and add more youth and juice to Pittsburgh's defensive line. Pittsburgh Steelers insider drops massive Aaron Rodgers update that will excite fans. For weeks, Pittsburgh Steelers fans have been anxiously waiting for former Green Bay Packers and New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers to make a decision on the 2025 NFL season. After being released by the Jets earlier this offseason with a post-June 1 designation, Rodgers did not exactly have a long list of teams lining up to bid on his services. In fact, the Steelers were really one of just 2 teams that expressed genuine interest, and the other team, the New York Giants, has since signed 2 veteran quarterbacks. Despite the fact that Pittsburgh is the only team currently willing to add him to their roster in 2025, Rodgers has not signed a contract with them. There is a strong indication, though, that he will. The only question is when. As the NFL draft is 2 weeks away, many have begun to wonder if Rodgers is really seriously considering signing with Pittsburgh or if he will just simply retire. Nick Farabaugh of Penn Live, however, has some very interesting updates and revelations on what has become a drawn-out courtship. On the rumors that the Steelers do not know what Rodgers is thinking, Farabaugh wrote, "Sources tell Penn Live the Steelers and Rodgers have constantly communicated with one another since his visit to Pittsburgh 3 weeks ago." 2 sources described Rodgers as actively engaged and said he has taken the initiative to drive interest. This is great news for Steelers fans who are concerned about their team being left in the dark regarding Rodgers' intentions and thought process. This revelation seems to indicate that Rodgers is certainly leaning towards playing for Pittsburgh in 2025. To add on to that, Farabaugh wrote, "The more interesting nugget I picked up was how his visit with the Steelers even came to be. Rodgers called the Steelers on a whim to set it up, with his travel already booked to Pittsburgh," sources told Penn Live. Pittsburgh adjusted plans, which included Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan heading to Michigan Pro Day, to stay in Pittsburgh for the impromptu visit that Rodgers put together. Rodgers also asked for DK Metcalf's number to put together their workout. Interestingly, the in-person meeting between Rodgers and Steelers brass was not set up by the organization. It was set up by the 4-time NFL MVP. He knows how important it is for coaches and general managers to be present at pro days, so one may assume that his interest is genuine as their meeting took place during Michigan's pro day. Why is it taking so long? Only Rodgers can answer that, and he is not talking to anybody, at least anybody that will reveal his thought process to the public. That being said, it sounds like the future Pro Football Hall of Famer will be suiting up for the Steelers in 2025. That should not, however, take away from Pittsburgh's intentions of taking a long hard look at possible young quarterbacks that they could develop in the upcoming NFL draft. And you fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Write to us in the comments.